The 33rd Mechanized Brigade launched an operation against Ukrainian infantry in the village of Bahesha, Donetsk region. In this high-risk operation, raids were carried out on houses with the support of drones. FPV drones first conducted targeted strikes on buildings where Russian infantry was located, after which Ukrainian soldiers entered the buildings. They cleared each house systematically, including basements, garages, and other shelters that Russian soldiers were attempting to fortify. A Russian soldier managed to escape from a house and enter a garage. However, all movements of the Russian soldiers were monitored by drones, and every location they entered was targeted. The settlement reportedly remains under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces. The Ukrainian 3rd Assault Brigade launched an infiltration operation into Russian positions. Soldiers crossed the border covertly and approached Russian trenches. After the movement of Russian forces was observed, FPV drones were deployed. First, the trenches were targeted by the drones, and then Ukrainian infantry entered the positions. You can support us by liking and commenting on the video. This is the moment Russian soldiers were detected in a forest belt. Later, the entire area was left with neutralized personnel. One soldier attempted to hide but was unsuccessful, as his movement had already been spotted earlier. The drone closed in and carried out a targeted strike. Initially, the impact did not trigger, causing the soldier to react in panic, but moments later, the drone detonated, rendering him incapacitated. A Russian soldier waits motionless in the bushes, aware that an FPV drone is tracking him. He believes he won't be detected as long as he remains still, but he is unable to evade the drone. Two Russian soldiers were spotted by drones while hiding in a ruined house a few kilometers from the city of Sumy. An artillery strike was launched on the location, though the exact intent of the soldiers was unclear. After several test shots, Ukrainian artillery struck the target with pinpoint accuracy. The munitions hit the building where the Russian soldiers were located, destroying the house and neutralizing the two soldiers. A Russian FPV drone follows two Ukrainian soldiers. The soldiers attempt to shoot down the drone, but their automatic weapons prove ineffective. One of the Ukrainian soldiers then switches to a pump-action shotgun and successfully disables the drone. A Ukrainian soldier uses the Cord machine gun, seized from Russian forces, against Russian troops. Russian forces had deployed the Cord heavy machine gun in frontline positions to suppress advancing Ukrainian units. Known for its high rate of fire and effective range of up to 2,000 meters, the Cord was used to defend fortified areas and provide covering fire during infantry maneuvers. A Russian soldier was spotted lying on the ground after a previous strike, showing minimal movement. He was holding his helmet and making slight gestures, unaware that another FPV drone had already been dispatched to his location. The drone approached and carried out a targeted strike from the side, leaving him unable to continue. I kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. This will help YouTube promote our videos and also motivate us to keep creating even more impactful content with the same intensity. Thank you. A Russian hideout was discovered with two opposing soldiers present at the moment of detection. One had already entered through the door while the other was just about to. After identifying the coordinates, a Ukrainian drone approached the entrance and carried out a precise strike, fully disabling the entry point. Now the Russian forces will need to find a new way in and out. While patrolling, a Ukrainian FPV drone flies along paths previously used by Russian troops. After passing through defensive obstacles known as Dragon's Teeth, concrete pyramids, the drone detects a Russian soldier running toward his lines. The drone carries out a precise strike, neutralizing him. A reconnaissance drone confirms the action. Between fields, movement is detected. A closer look reveals a Russian soldier hiding among bushes and weeds. Coordinates are marked, and a drone is launched. It flies between the fields, locates the soldier, and carries out a precise strike, neutralizing him. In a pine forest, Ukrainian operators spot Russian bunkers. Since the entrance had no doors, a drone was able to fly directly inside and carry out a strike, causing significant damage. A second drone was sent to complete the operation, collapsing the entrance. Another FPV drone entered a Russian bunker without doors, detonating inside and destroying it. All that remained was to observe the equipment being neutralized. A night strike targeted another bunker in the pine forest. The entrance was covered, preventing entry, but the drone struck the doorway, collapsing it. A Russian fighter riding a quad bike with a small trailer was neutralized with a single precise strike. A Ukrainian drone pursued and disabled another Russian biker. Two additional Russian soldiers were neutralized by a Ukrainian drone, which also rendered an abandoned Russian motorcycle inoperative. While surveying a battlefield, a Ukrainian drone discovered a Russian hideout camouflaged in a forest strip. An FPV drone was deployed, navigating the path and reaching the position. Upon spotting a soldier, the drone carried out a precise strike, neutralizing the target. Destruction of another Russian motorcycle. A compilation shows the disabling of Russian vehicles concealed in bushes and trees, followed by footage of soldiers on motorcycles used in assaults against Ukrainian positions. Many of these attacks are repelled by drones, though some enemy advances still manage to occur. A Ukrainian FPV drone spots a Russian soldier on a motorcycle. Despite the speed, the drone catches up and carries out a targeted strike from behind, neutralizing him. A Russian vehicle concealed among trees and branches, which was being used to transport ammunition, was neutralized. A Ukrainian FPV drone targeted an abandoned Russian armored vehicle, and after the initial strike, it caught fire. A Ukrainian FPV drone pursued a Russian car, and after the first impact, it stalled, becoming an easy target. A follow-up strike rendered it completely inoperative. A direct hit disabled a Russian armored personnel carrier that had been stuck in a crater left by an anti-tank mine. Another strike neutralized a Russian vehicle moving directly toward the drone. A Ukrainian drone detected and disabled Russian equipment. Additionally, a Ukrainian FPV drone neutralized a Russian MLRS system that appeared to be loaded with ammunition, resulting in a powerful secondary explosion. This operation was made possible thanks to reconnaissance drone support. Once again, a lone Russian soldier is spotted in open terrain by reconnaissance drones. This time, in the Andreyka area, which Russian forces claim to have fully under control. After being tracked for some time, an FPV drone is immediately dispatched. The soldier notices the rapidly approaching drone and fires several shots in an attempt to take it down. But hitting these small, agile drones is almost impossible. The first maneuver misses him, but the drone quickly circles back. The Russian soldier fires again, still no success. There's no second chance. The pilot lowers the drone and guides it in with deadly precision. The strike is unavoidable. What are your thoughts on the use of FPV drones? Share your opinions in the comments below. Two Russian soldiers are observed moving toward Ukrainian positions along the forest edge. They advance cautiously, scanning the surrounding trees and terrain. Reconnaissance drones track them for many minutes, recording their speed, direction, and movements. An FPV drone then closes in, buzzing overhead. The men hear its approach, but the drone's speed and precision leave them no room to retreat. One is immediately neutralized, while the other is left incapacitated, highlighting how drones integrate real-time observation with rapid response to control the battlefield. A few Russian soldiers taking cover among the trees to rest were detected by the 3rd Assault Brigade. A drone launched a strike directly on their position. One of the soldiers moved from the trees and quickly sought cover in a nearby barrack. However, another drone strike followed, targeting the very shelter he had attempted to use for protection. The other soldier, unable to move from his position, was struck again by a drone-deployed munition before he could retreat further. Both Russian soldiers were unable to escape and were ultimately neutralized by the drone strikes. Two Russian soldiers were spotted setting up new positions in a wooded area near Totsk. They were monitored by drones for a period, unaware that their movements were being tracked. Once their coordinates were precisely calculated, Ukrainian forces launched a mortar strike on the position. The blast from the mortar round immediately disabled one soldier. The other took cover behind the trees, but Ukrainian forces remained determined to target him as well. An FPV drone was then deployed, moving swiftly to strike the remaining soldier. In the Starobilsk region, a Russian soldier was detected by a Ukrainian 414 Magwars Birds FPV drone. The lone soldier was attempting to move past Ukrainian defensive positions, but the FPV drones were deployed before he could advance further. He noticed the approaching drone, but exhausted and worn out, he made no attempt to flee. The FPV drone swiftly struck the soldier. Russian soldiers who had just arrived in the Russian trenches were detected by reconnaissance aircraft from the Ukrainian 154th Mechanized Artillery Company. Once their exact coordinates were confirmed, artillery strikes began. The Russian group of about 10 soldiers started to disperse under the incoming fire. Ukrainian mortars, positioned just a few hundred meters away, continued to target the trenches with precision. After hours of sustained attacks, Russian soldiers were seen retreating from the area, carrying the injured, while a disoriented soldier wandered, unsure of how to respond. Ukrainian Sinem battalion struck again in the Lyman direction, targeting and destroying Russian logistics. Fuel trucks, supply vehicles, and ammunition transports were hit one by one. With every attack, Russian troops are left with fewer resources to continue their offensive. These strikes not only cripple enemy resupply efforts, but also expose how vulnerable Russian logistics remain on the front lines. Here is one of the targets, a Russian military vehicle. And this was the soldier's final glance at the approaching drone. A Ukrainian fiber optic FPV drone engaged a Russian soldier who was walking nearby, unaware of the imminent threat. The operation was conducted by the Kalibri unit of the 152nd Jaeger Brigade on the Pokrovsk front. A Russian soldier remained motionless, hoping to avoid detection by the Ukrainian drone. However, the drone operator had already identified his position. As the drone quickly advanced, the soldier was unable to evade in time. A Russian soldier spotted on the Pokrovsk front was targeted by an FPV drone. The operation was carried out by the Worm Busters unit of Ukraine's 414th UAS Brigade, a component of Maguia's birds.